All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the sincere and hopeful elect Akim, Ma'a Abrabai, Ma Rabbi Alap. That's to say 144,000 in the Lashma Kodash, which is what we are striving to be a part of, being in this ministry. So, with this lesson, as I was listening to this interview, as you can see, the title "America is Turning on Israel. Trump Wants to Walk Away." Alex Kramer, or Craner, is being interviewed, and he makes some good points. This is a very good interview from start to finish, and there's a couple points I want to, 2 points I want to edify on. So he's gonna, I forget the guy's name on the left conducting an interview, which I know he's Iranian, and the seemingly looking Edomite on the right is a Croatian European Edomite, and they play a clip from Charlie, Captain Kirk out from his homegoing celebration. All right. So they play what Tucker Carlson had to say. And, as I was listening to this, I was, I got to thinking, like, the statement that Tucker Carlson makes doesn't even apply to who he's attempting to apply it to. All right, he's making a statement, and he's attempting to apply it to the small hats. All right, but it doesn't even apply to the small hats. It applies to the Israelites, so-called Negroes, West Indians and Haitians, truthfully. All right, so I'm gonna play this and then grab some scriptures. So listen closely.
Which make no sense to the people. And here is what Tucker Carlson said, that is a huge concern on the part of these people who are criticizing the administration. He was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up.
Right, so 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem. All right, he's going to mention Genghis Krangus. All right, but we know it was Yahweh Shai. All right. Now, Tucker Carlson has actually approached the apostles and had dialogue, a conversation with the apostles on 34th and 7th in New York. So he knows who the true children of Israel are. All right, the world knows. All right, which is one of the world's best kept secrets, amongst the elites. All right, but really, us being in the end times, the whole world is realizing that, the true children of Israel are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and really, with all this drama, all right, going on with the Israelis and the Palestinians, all right, in the land of Israel, that is further solidifying the fact that those people claiming to be Israeli, all right, small hats, are not the people of the book, all right. So them committing the cytogen, side geno, all right, side geno, flip those two words. That's what I really want to say. If you flip those two words, side and geno, all right, put the geno in front of the, so them committing that on those Palestinians, is further, magnifying the fact that they aren't the true people, okay, of the Heavenly Father. So he mentions 2,000 years ago, in which 2,000 years ago, the people being persecuted by the Romans were not the small hats that's actually in the land today. All right. So continuing on.
Up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts.
Let's run that back.
So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power.
So who were the people in power? The people in power were Edomites. All right, being called Romans. All right, that's who was in power 2,000 plus years ago. That the Lord Yahweh Shai, who the real ignorantly knows as Jesus Christ, was pretty much condemning. All right, and really, you had the wicked scribes and Pharisees, you can say, were pretty much like the proxy government established by the Romans to keep the Israelites tamed. All right, because those wicked scribes and Pharisees were bought and paid for. All right, when you go into the history of the Maccabees, dealing with the Hasmoneans and the the Maccabees family, you can read about how you had wicked Levites that pretty much bought the seat of the high priest. All right, and were pretty much puppets for the Roman Empire. Okay, so 2,000 years ago, you had Yahweh Shai cussing out wicked scribes and Pharisees as well as the Roman Empire.
And he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
Oh man. The way he delivered that was just like, damn dog, this is this man's funeral. You know what I'm saying? And you that's literally what happened to this guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like this shit is all orchestrated, man. It's all the dog and pony show, man. It's all fake and fabricated, you know. It's too jovial of an atmosphere for this to be, this guy's funeral. You know what I'm saying? Captain Kirk. All right. like, come on, man. How you gonna? Ah, my goodness.
And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
He's trying desperately to tell the administration it doesn't work this way. He's trying to send a message not to those people who are on the other side. He's trying to send a message to the people on his side that this is not the way to treat this sort of problem. You have to find the roots of these problems.
All right, so that was one point. All right, so where I want to go with that is starting here in 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. All right, it says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right, so everybody in that arena, because I believe that was some arena in in Phoenix. Might have been the football stadium, I think, something like that. Everybody in there hearing this story that Tucker Carlson mentions pertaining to Yahweh Shai, all right, which he didn't go into any book, chapter, or verse. All right, he just, roughly paraphrased, the whatever story came to his mind. They're not gonna leave out of there with the understanding of, the physical description, according to what Yahweh Shai looks like biblically, or the people in the land of the nation of Israel, or in the land of Israel, excuse me, at that time, what their physical description and depiction is. All right, they're gonna leave out of there thinking, rock star Jesus, blonde hair, blue eyes. The people, the small hats in the land of Israel, they're gonna think that, that's who Yahweh Shai was talking to, when that's clearly not the case. All right, and it tells you here in First Maccabees, once again, 3:48, it says, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images." Okay, so Esau has done a great job at, iconoclasm, all right, which is the defacing of images. Anything that was, a biblical portrait, of the true Israelites, all right, which are people of color, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Natives, and Seminole Indians. Esau has taken that and, painted over and whitewashed his image onto, the true image of the people of the Heavenly Father. Okay, so there's no truth in these Edomites, man. Okay, there's no truth in Esau Edom. He'll continue to to do that. Okay, to just flat out lie. All right, to keep himself propped up as, the people of the book. Now, grabbing this here in Wisdom of Solomon 5, verse 1, it says, on that day, someone righteous, and this is an NLT or GNT, excuse me. All right, so it says, on that day, someone righteous, full of confidence, will stand before those who oppressed him and made light of his labors. And that's the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, fulfilling the role of prophesying in this time. Okay, in the videos we do when we go out on the highways and do these lessons, this is us standing in the face of our oppressors, which, have made no account of our labors. All right, take America for instance. We have the Israelites have built Babylon the Great. All right, but the inventions and the accolades, that should be accredited to us, are not accredited to us. Okay. It says they will be amazed to see him safe and will tremble with terrible fear. All right, because when shit hits the fan, all right, the Lord is going to be with his elect, and that's going to bug out a lot of these Edomites and heathen, especially the elites who think, the worst case scenario is headed our direction. Okay, that's going to bug them out. All right, when the men of the Lord are protected, and even the elites themselves are, catching hell. All right, because, as the scripture say in Deuteronomy, that the curses, 30:7, I believe, the curses is going to shift to the heathen. That applies to the elites as well. All right, they're not exempt. Okay, it says, verse 3, it says, Then they will regret what they did, and groaning in anguish, they will say to each other, "This is the one we made fun of. We thought he was a joke. What fools we were. We thought he was crazy to live the way he did, and when he died, we didn't honor him." Okay? So the way we live, the way we conduct ourselves, our message, okay, Esau takes that as a joke. All right, now the elites, you know, they know the seriousness of what it is that we preach and what we believe, but they have those demons on them. All right. Now the average everyday 6-pack drinking Bud Light drinking Edomite in America look at us as fools. They think we're crazy. They think it's a joke. All right. And they believe there's no honor in what it is that we do. Okay. It says, verse 5, and now here he is, one of the Most High's own children, with a place of his own among the Most High's people. All right, because the people that's being targeted right now, all right, via ICE, okay, via the government, Babylonian government, are the Israelites in particular. Okay, we're being you got Jake's being deported, thrown in concentration camps, accused of being illegals, accused of being, violent and so on and so forth. The worst things that you can say about a race of people, Esau says that about us Israelites. Okay, but that doesn't even matter, because in the end, all right, the same dumbass Babylonians, the same ICE agents, the same military individuals and people that work for the government that have some hand in forwarding the agenda of demonizing the Israelites is all going to realize that, hey, we are the Heavenly Father's chosen people. All right, not the people in the land of Israel claiming to be JOOs. All right, the small hats, those are not the people of the book. All right, we are. All right, and when the Lord delivers his elect, all right, that strangeness of our salvation, they're going to realize that they touched the apple of the Heavenly Father's eye. Okay? It says, we were the ones who wandered off the right road. We never lived in the light of righteousness. We never caught the first glimmer of its light. All our lives we wandered across unmarked deserts instead of following the road which the Lord wanted us to travel. And that road that the Lord wants our people to travel in particular is coming back to their heritage. Calling upon the names of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, serving Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay? And along with that, we are prophets unto the nations. So, if you actually live according to what the scriptures say, whether you are Israelite or a heathen, it'll do you some justice. All right. Now, the heathen will never be on the level of Israel, but even a heathen that actually claims to be a Christian and actually tries to keep, some type of decency about them, being that they actually try to follow the Bible, which if it's a real deal heathen, they can't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? But you do have some people that claim to be Christians that are heathens that refrain from eating pork or whatever the case may be. They live a life more on par with the scriptures than a nigga that's just in the ghetto, a YN, so to say. Okay, but if you adhere to the scriptures, sincerely, it'll do you justice. Okay. So once again, it says, Verse 7, all our lives we wandered across unmarked deserts instead of following the road which the Lord wanted us to travel. And this lawlessness led us to ruin. All right. Lawlessness is what's going to cause Babylon the Great to be destroyed, man. All right. We see how this place is a lawless country. All right. A lawless nation. Verse 8, it says, we were so proud of ourselves. We bragged about how rich we were. And now what good has it done us? All right. Because the wealth that these people bragged about here in Babylon in particular was FRNs, paper money, monopoly money. All right. And now that shit is tanking or is being devalued, hey, what good has it done, everyone? Verse 9, it says, all those things are gone now. They have disappeared like a shadow, like something you hear and then forget. Okay? So Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed with the possessions that these people hold near and dear to heart. Okay? So, as Tucker Carlson had mentioned in that clip, he was trying to associate Captain Kirk's situation to how the Israelites 2,000 years ago, the wicked scribes and Pharisees, how they pretty much conspired to come against the Lord because of him telling the truth. All right, he's trying to correlate those two, but that the shoe does not fit. Captain Kirk is an Edomite. All right, Yahweh Shai is an Israelite. All right, so the same way they, Esau laid open, the heathen laid open the book of the law to try to paint the likeness of the image. Okay, you're gonna have it to where they're gonna realize in the end that they ain't never had it right. All right, that the people that they thought were fools for calling themselves Israelites was actually telling the truth. Meanwhile, you got all these pseudo pastors and preachers, forwarding an image of a rock star whose name is Jesus Christ. All right, which is going to lead to a dead end, man. All right, it's going to lead to a dead end. All right, so let's play some more of this video. And I forwarded it to the next segment that I want to edify on.
If you just kind of started your business and became successful and, you made a lot of money, there are many causes you could support in life rather than a military in someplace half around the world, right? And so that's a very interesting thing, because I've also heard recently Larry Ellison in one of these forums, I don't know if it was like a Michael Milken forum or a World Economic Forum in Davos, something like this.
All right, and Ellison, that name has been popping up. I believe the Ellisons just purchased TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, which he's a small hat, and they purchased TikTok, to pretty much control TikTok, because you got a lot of people that's not feeling those small hats, man. So anything related to condemning or exposing the small hats for what they're doing, the cytogen, okay. All right, the side geno, the side geno, flip that around. What the small hats is doing to the Palestinians in the war crimes of Benjamin Netanyahu and so on and so forth. You got them trying to, to tackle that. All right. So continuing.
He was talking about how all these control matrix technologies are going to ensure that everybody's on their best behavior, meaning, he's completely on board with this World Economic Forum agenda of putting us under complete control and surveillance.
And that's the purpose, one of the purposes of that C-HIP, that micro C-HIP, that MOT to the B. Okay, that's one of the purposes of the MOTB, to surveil any and everything.
So that we can't really do anything. We can't protest. We can't even criticize. We have to, be up to date with our vaccine schedules and the boosters and everything. And so,
what kind of world is that, man? All right, that is not a world that I want to live in. I'd rather go to the spirit world, man. Fuck that. Okay, but that's the world that is that's the image of the beast system. Okay, if Esau can have his way and have that beast system fully operational, for until the next system of control or next beast, or revolution came about, that's just what it would be. Life, like the movie The Matrix, man. Which that's hell on earth, man. Okay. But we know, according to the scriptures, that when Esau is about to fill his belly, that's when the Lord is going to have those nukes, destroy everything he built. Okay.
This is all part of the same thing. And then, Larry Ellison also features in an investigation that I have done myself over the,
all right, so
on the subject of the company called Theranos, which I don't know if you'll remember, but Theranos was about 20 years ago. It was a really big deal. It was a company run by a very young American woman called Elizabeth Holmes.
All right, so any company that's ran by a young American woman, man, you can't trust that. Women are not designed and created to be in positions of authority. Okay, they're created to be at home, guiding the house, cooking, cleaning, and laying on their back. Okay, that's the role of a woman, not to be the CEO of some company, fucking stuff up. Okay, bossing men around. Okay, committing adultery and gadding abroad.
And Elizabeth Holmes was supposedly the inventor of some kind of a revolutionary diagnostics device, which could accurately diagnose something like 120 different diseases from just a little droplet of blood taken from your finger. Well, I looked into that, and the whole thing was a fraud from day one. The technology never worked.
The whole thing was a fraud from day one. Okay, you can take a droplet of blood and diagnose 120 different diseases. The whole thing was a fraud, man. Okay, just like the Crown Royal, 2020 was a fraud from day one. Okay.
She was never qualified. I looked into that, and the whole thing was a fraud from day one. The technology never worked. She was never qualified to run it. The whole thing was an extremely bizarre Silicon Valley bubble that crashed from the valuation of $9 billion to zero in a very short time. But the curious thing is that
this is 20 years ago. $9 billion? 20 years ago? That's a lot of money, man. $9 billion is a lot of money today. 20 years ago, they put $9 billion into this company, all right, that wasn't worth nothing, okay? That was a total farce, and it pretty much crashed, Okay.
Elizabeth Holmes's mentor and one of her biggest financial backer was none other than Larry Ellison again.
Okay, Larry Ellison. All right, the cat that just bought a TikTok. Okay, a small hat. All right, these powerful small hats, all right, JOOs, fund a lot of these startups. Okay, for the purpose of information and ultimately control. Okay, and he's gonna mention some more names.
And her entire board of directors were people from the security state. Nobody from the medical field. It was people like Henry Kissinger, sorry, the name escapes me, but there was General Mattis, George Shultz, Sam Nunn, who was head of the Armed Services Committee in the Senate. So very, very powerful people in the deep state, in the military-industrial complex, in the security state and intelligence services. Nobody from any medical or diagnostics field. And this girl had no clue about anything.
Yeah, a total nitwit. All right. Nobody from the medical field on the panel, and it was the same thing with the Crown Royal. You had nobody that was a qualified physician. All right, which physician means to make whole, or so-called doctor. All right, which doctor means to falsify. But you had nobody in the medical industry, that was at the forefront of, the Crown Royal 2020. All right, you had who? You had Bill Gates, and you had Dr. Fauci. Okay.
And there you have Larry Ellison again, the arch Zionist. And then, as I completed my investigation, it turned out that this whole Theranos thing was the preparation, very probably, it wasn't explicitly stated, it was very probably the creation of an information weapon for future pandemics that were going to be wielded against all of humanity everywhere around the world, because their objective was to be able to test 20% of the whole population weekly. So the Zionist Project, World Economic Forum, City of London, because Larry Ellison is also very close with Tony Blair, Mr. City of London, in addition to being close to Benjamin Netanyahu. And so this all seems to come together, and it always revolves around the very same cabal.
Yep. Okay. So let's grab this here, Job 13:4, one of my favorites. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value." Like I said, the word physician means to make whole. All right, matter of fact, let's get this word physician in the Hebrew. And it comes from the H7495, and it's rapah. All right, it says to heal, make healthy, to heal, the Most High healer, physician of men, of hurts, of nations, involving restored favor, of individual distresses to be healed, literally, of water, pottery, of national hurts, of personal distress to heal, literal, of national defects or hurts in order to get healed. Strong's definitions, it says a primitive root properly, to mend by stitching, an example, figuratively, to cure, okay, heal, physician, repair, thoroughly, make whole, all right, and the one who's gonna make you whole all right, is Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not Esau Edom. That's why, the apostles stressed when that whole Crown Royal thing took place. Brothers have been on through the teachings of the apostles. Brothers been on, the health kick. That's one of the first things brothers learned coming into the truth was diet. Smoothies and fruits and vegetables and consuming garlic and various things. How to be your own physician. And brothers took heed of that and have utilized that over the years, and it's done us well, man. To where people around you, when this whole pandemic happened, is bugging out, claiming they claiming they got it, the damn Crown Royal and tweaking and you know what I'm saying and you know what I'm saying, like, okay, it's you're gonna get sick most likely at least once a year. All right, being that we in this jacked up ass body, you get sick. All right, but when they hit people with that witchcraft, with that hypnotized, hypnotization, hypnotizing via the media, when people got sick, they automatically associated that with the Crown Royal. All right, and it's like, yeah, man, Jake was just simple, man. A lot of Jakes was simple. All right, but meanwhile, the men of the Lord trusted in the Lord, and that ain't even affect brothers like that. Now certain brothers, got sick or whatnot, and we got to understand that Esau, by way of the chemtrails, is even to this day pumping stuff in the air, barium, aluminum, which is the Elder Wamba points out sometimes that that's Baal. All right, so Esau being the prince and power of the air, he's spraying heavy metals and toxins in the air that's playing on people's immune systems, destroying people's immune system. So of course you're gonna be sicker than usual. All right, and they was going hard at that time. All right, so the the sickness that people was feeling at that time was on steroids. Okay, people that did get sick or whatnot, but brothers was all right, man. The Lord was with us, and if you did end up getting sick or whatever around that time, hey, brothers knew how to be their own physicians. That's the point. Okay, brothers knew how to be their own physicians. All right, but that was pretty much the point. Matter of fact, this last one, because he mentioned the cabal. All right, he mentions it's always the same players for the most part. When you look at dealing with that chick that he mentioned, that had that startup that tanked. The people that backed her are the same people that back a lot of these different companies and wicked schemes and plots. All right, that take a lot of money to accomplish, to get started. It's the same individuals, man. Okay, so this is Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" All right. So it's Esau, Edom, that has covered the faces of the judges, because the true judges of this planet are the Israelites. All right. Once again, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, Seminole Indians, West Indians, Haitians. All right. We are the true judges of this planet. All right. And what Esau has done via, once again, iconoclasm through slavery, all right, through him taking control over the earth, which really that's his blessing, all right, in which he got control of the earth via the sword, all right, being that that's his blessing. Um, with that, he's been able to pretty much have his way, okay, but he's coming to that dead end, where there's no U-turn, it's no you can't turn left, you can't turn right. It's just a brick wall, and Esau about to crash out. All right, to the point to where World War III is going to have his armies go up in flames. All right, so Abaratazah, brothers was edified with that lesson. Until next time, I say shalom.